Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Sarah, Thrifting for the Nest. If this is your first time watching my YouTube channel, I am an online reseller selling mostly on eBay and also on Poshmark. I sell mainly used clothing, and I've been doing this for about 7 years. I first started selling on eBay so that I could make a little extra money as a stay-at-home mom, and pretty soon I realized that there was a lot more potential to online reselling than I ever realized there was. So here I am 7 years later. I've had a lot of ups and a lot of downs in this business, but here I am still doing it. Super thankful for the opportunity to still stay home with my kids, even as school-aged boys. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, both in elementary school, and my husband does have a full-time job, but I'm happy to be able to do this, stay home, have a flexible schedule, and still bring home income into my household. So on Mondays, I like to do what sold videos. I like to share what my weekend sales were. I feel like I would like to give a good picture of what an entire week's sales would be. And I know some resellers do that on YouTube, but this is just the most practical way for me to share with you what the potential is as far as online reselling is concerned. So I will probably be doing a video at some point about how to get started on eBay, what you need, what my particular experience was like getting into the reselling game. There's a lot of fantastic YouTubers out there who share their experience. You could just do a quick search of that. Eventually, I will put my own story up there. If you've been following me for any period of time, which some of you have, I was a lot more consistent on YouTube. I took a break for about 2 years off of YouTube and have recently come back to the platform to share about my experience. I took a break simultaneously during a season that I kind of had to step back from my business because of some health things, and recently felt like it was time to start building my business back up again and wanted to bring you along on the journey in doing so. So if you watched my What Sold video last week, I went over $1,000 in sales. Granted, that was over a 3-day period of time. I'm shipping on a Monday because it is not a shipping holiday. So in this weekend, from Friday, basically Friday sales, Saturday sales, and Sunday sales, because I don't ship on Saturdays, I've done a total of $653.44 in sales on eBay. That includes my shipping costs that I charge. So eBay, if you're an eBay seller, you know right now there's a lot of glitches on the platform, and part of that is that I do not get to see my sales graph to show you how much I sold in each day. So I just get one sum total, which includes my shipping charges to my customers. I have about a 30% overhead as far as my cost of goods and then what it costs me to do business, including fees and shipping. So kind of take that into consideration when you're looking at sales. Every reseller has a different way that they do things, so that 30% overhead isn't necessarily across the board based on what sellers are buying their original goods for. I mostly shop at the Goodwill outlet, which is the pay by the pound store. So I pay about $1.30 a pound for all of my items. Sometimes I'll venture out and I'll shop at yard sales, garage sales, and retail Goodwill. I can't use that term anymore. It's not actually retail Goodwill. That's what they call it though. That's what they call it, their retail store. Obviously it's not retail prices because it's still used clothing that they sell at the Goodwill. But instead of paying $9 to $12 a piece at my local Goodwill stores, I'm going to the bins and I'm digging through unsorted product to find gems to sell on eBay, but I'm buying stuff for $1.30 a pound instead. So in my opinion, there's a lot more money to be made. It is a lot harder work, depending on how you look at it and who you ask, but that's my opinion. So you can watch my haul videos to see the kind of items that I bring home to sell kind of in its raw form, but I also like to share what my sales are so you know what the potential is for yourself if you are interested in starting an eBay business, or say you already have an eBay Poshmark business and you're already selling stuff online. I think that these sales videos are helpful. Keep in mind that because my cost of goods is so low, I have a lot of wiggle room on negotiating costs with my customers. I don't ever want to tank the market, but I also don't want to hang on to a bunch of inventory for a long time. I've done this both ways. I have tried to keep my average sale price above $20 to see how that goes, and I can do that if I'm much more selective about the stuff that I'm buying and I'm willing to hang on to items longer. But I have decided that what works best for me is a quicker turn business. So I like to turn things quickly. Because my cost of goods is so low to begin with, I can typically do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about sales for the weekend. So I sold 4 items on Poshmark and I sold 22 items on eBay. And when I say I sold 22 items on eBay. I actually sold more than that, but I'm still waiting for 9 items to be paid for. So I'm only going to share with you today the items that I have actually been paid for, because there's always a potential that those other items could not get paid for and get relisted. So this was just one of those weeks. That's not typical. That's actually a pretty high number of unpaid items that I have in my store right now. So hoping that those people will pay for their items. If not, they go to an unpaid item case and I get to relist them, and it's really no sweat for me. I don't get super bent out of shape about that. Sometimes I list them for more than I originally sold them for. It's really not a big deal. I don't want buyers to have items they actually didn't want in the first place. We've all had buyer's remorse, so I try not to hold it against the people that don't pay, and just go through the process that eBay wants us to go through with unpaid item cases. So I won't spend a whole lot of energy on that today. Okay, I went ahead and pulled all my items in order. So hopefully this should be pretty smooth sharing my sales with you today, and we don't have quite as many items as we did in the last video. So I like to pepper in information in my store, or pepper in information on how I run my business as I'm sharing with you. So who knows what kind of tips I will share today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I sold these boots. They are Dolce Vita brand boots. I sold them for $25 plus shipping. So I had them in my store for a little bit of time. I don't like to hang on to boots really past January because I figure most of the time people that buy boots for the fall and winter have already bought them by that point. And by the time January hits, I kind of like to start thinking about more spring and summer inventory. I don't necessarily list seasonally. You can't really be picky when you're buying stuff at the bins as far as what you're putting up in your store. There are a few things I'll hold back for certain seasons, but not as much as I used to. However, I always keep that in mind when I have an offer, a live offer, and somebody wants to pay me money for something that I picked up at the bins. Happy to take it. I probably paid maybe $3 for those boots. So $25 I feel like is a pretty good flip. As you know from my last few what sold videos, I wrap a lot of my items in plastic before they go into storage for protection, so I will not be unwrapping them for the sake of this video, but I will share with you what I sold. I sold a pair of Nike golf pants, men's golf pants for $14 plus shipping. Those are kind of bread and butter pieces. I'm finding that a lot of my Nike gear is becoming more bread and butter unless they're specialty items. I'm okay with that. I feel like that's a pretty good flip. They're less than a pound, so I probably paid about $1 for them. All right, the next item here that I sold, again, it's wrapped. It's really pretty, just trust me. It's a Chico's velvet burnout top. I pick up most Chico's unless it's the Chico's design brand. I find that the Chico's design line does not do very well for me at all. It sits and sits and sits and then sells for $5. So it's just a brand, that's the only kind of Chico's line that I don't pick up. However, most of their Chico's stuff does really well for me still. So I sold this top for $16 plus shipping. It's definitely less than a pound, probably about half a pound. So I paid 70 cents for it. This is a Lane Bryant velvet dress. It's very holiday themed. It's new with tags. I sold it for $28 plus shipping. So I feel like that's a good deal. Definitely over a pound. So I paid about $1.50 for it. I started picking up most plus size items regardless of the brand. There are a few brands that I will not pick up. I won't pick up plus size Faded Glory. I won't pick up plus size like Roman's brand unless it's super cute. So there's certain brands that I just don't feel like are as good of quality that I won't pick up for plus size. But if it's good quality plus, I will pick it up. So this is Diane Gilman. It's also new with tags. It's a linen sweater, and I sold it for $18 plus shipping. So it's the DG2 brand. This is the kind of thing, though, that has to be perfect. So this was new with tags, so that was a given. I don't know if I would have picked it up used unless it was perfect and looked barely worn. So, you know, I always say I don't have a list of BOLOs because BOLO means be on the lookout for certain brands. Certain brands are always BOLOs, pick them up no matter what. But there's a lot of judgment calls you have to make, especially when you're picking items from the bin. What condition is it in? What style is it? What's the size? So I take all of those things into consideration. I try to process my thought process with you of why I picked something up. And you know what? 7 years later, and I still make bad buys. Like, I feel like that's inevitable. I always have a rotating box of stuff to go back to the Goodwill of things that were either bad buys, things that I brought home that had holes in it that I didn't realize. I, used to think that eventually I'd get to the point where I would be a perfect picker and I would never make bad buys, but that's just never going to happen. So You learn that that's just a cost of doing business, and that is okay. And again, I always say that the Goodwill outlet is a great training ground because your cost to begin with, your upfront cost, is not very much. It becomes a lot more spendy to go to other Goodwills, pay $8 to $12 an item, and then have it not sell or bring it home and it have flaws and not being able to return it. So these are all the things that I weigh when trying to determine my best business practice. All right, I picked this up. This actually, I found this last week in a bin. I think I showed it in, did I show it in a haul video? I don't remember. It's Escada brand. You can see the tags detached halfway here, but that's okay. That doesn't deter me. It weighs definitely less than a pound. This brand, let me show it to you because it's out and not wrapped. This brand does really well. It can sit for quite a while depending on style, but it is a higher end brand. I took an offer for $30 plus shipping on it. It's a bodysuit. This was in a bin that had been out for about 2 hours by the time I got to it, and it was buried. So sometimes I find that some of the best stuff is at the bottom of the bins. You just have to be willing to dig at it to find it. So this was, I think it was a day that I had gone, I remember correctly, a day that I had gone and I had to work really hard to even get a cart full of items. They weren't even that great items, but this was a winner and I was excited, and ironically found it at the end of my trip in a bin that I had not looked at, that had been out and ruffled through by a lot of sellers. So these are just basic Under Armour sweatpants. If you're familiar with them, they're like the Storm thermal sweatpants. These are bread and butter pieces for me. They typically don't sell for more than $15. So I took a $10 best offer on them. I sell bras, and I'm very picky about the bras that I pick up. They have to be perfect. Like, they have to be almost unworn looking. I'm very selective about it, and I only pick up certain brands. So I pick up Victoria's Secret, Cacique, Wacoal, and that's just about it. There's a couple other ones depending on size that I'll pick up if they're what I consider good enough. And then there's some like kind of off fringe brands that I hardly find that I'll pick up if they're good. There's one of them. Enel is another one I'll pick up. Enell. I have not found an Enel bra in probably 2 years, but those are really good finds too if you ever can find them. They're a sports bra line, and they sell like hotcakes. Okay, so this item is just a Nike t-shirt. I sold it for $12. It's a women's t-shirt, sold it for $12 plus shipping. Victoria's Secret Pink just does not sell for as much as it used to, so I'm very picky about the styles that I pick up, and they have to be in good condition. There's a little fuzzy on the front. I'll lint roll this before I send it out. I sold this sweatshirt, just a typical sweatshirt, for $13.99 plus shipping. And if you have followed me on my Instagram page for any period of time, you might remember, this is one of my favorite thrifting stories ever. This was the last of the 4 that I had picked up. So I went to a church rummage sale in August, I think, with my kids, and I was looking for specifically like clothes. I'm a clothing reseller, so that's what I'm always looking for when I go to estate sales, church sales, yard sales, whatever. I walked by this set of 4 of them 4 or 5 times. It's got the tag on it. They're Hallmark. They communicate to each other. So it's a band, Christmas band, and they communicate. So when you turn one on, the rest of them all play. So on Instagram, I had posted about it when I first got them. They're super, super cute. And if I did not know how much that they were worth, I would have kept them for my family. That's kind of the way it is when you're a reseller. You're like, sorry, kids, I know you think they're fun, but I'm going to sell them. So I made a total of $400 off of all 4 of these. This was the last one to sell, and it only sold for $30. The other 2 that I sold, so if you ever find the Lucy and the Schroeder, those are the 2 that sold for over $100 for me each. So I broke up the set, and I sold them each individually because there was more profit in that. So if you look at the comps on this, keep an eye out for them. A lot of the Hallmark Charlie Brown stuff sells for a good amount of money. So they were $15 brand new with any purchase, regularly $30, so that's how they're advertised on the tag. But because these came out in 2011, and obviously they were limited edition, so people can't find them, and it's one of those things, if you have the set and you love the set and it's a family tradition and one of them breaks, somebody's going to go on eBay to try to replace it. So the Charlie Brown one and the Snoopy one were obviously the least popular ones because I sold them for $30 a piece, but the other ones I sold I'm not doing the math right, because I know that like I just told you that I sold 30 for a piece and 200 for the others. I made $400 on all of them. So I'm not even giving you the accurate, because they all sold right away, and I'm just not going to pull up those stats right now. So forgive me, but trust me on these. Look up the comps and you'll see for yourself. I wonder, getting closer to Christmas too, because I sold the first 3 right away in August, early September. And I wonder now, getting closer to Christmas, if the value will go up on these, but I'm fine with what I sold them for. So anyway, that was a really fun flip for me. And I don't do a ton of garage sales and stuff, but that was worth it. Okay, I sold this. It's just a Gap kids coat, like warm winter coat. I sold it for $10 plus shipping. I sold a couple other of these earlier in the fall for 20 bucks. But because, again, I feel like a lot of parents who are buying coats for their kids probably already have them by this point. So my chances of selling them for higher are going to go down. So I was fine taking a $10 offer on those. That's the kind of thing that I will save for seasons. So like if they're very heavy jackets, I probably won't list super heavy jackets in the middle of summer. I saved them all, and then I listed all of my ski gear and heavy coats in late August to prepare for the fall. This is an Anthropologie piece. It's the brand Pure and Good. I had it in my store for quite a while, and I took a $10 offer plus shipping. Okay, I used to do a ton of Christmas sweaters. They were my favorite thing when I first started my business, but then like everybody caught on, so it's really popular. Not only everybody caught on in the reselling community, but everybody caught on in the retail community. So now, you know, sweaters are made to look like ugly Christmas sweaters. So I don't find them as much. I will still pick them up if they're really cool. And I thought this one was really cool, and I wish that it fit, because I totally would have saved this for myself. It's Jesus and Santa Claus high-fiving. I suppose some could get super offended by this shirt. I am not offended by this shirt. I think it's awesome, and I totally would wear it, because that's what Christmas is all about to me. Anyway, I love it, and I'm glad that it will go to a good home. So I sold it for $25 plus shipping. All right, this sold pretty quickly after listing it. It's a Ralph Lauren sweater. It's a men's merino wool sweater. Merino wool does really well for me. I sold it for $15 plus shipping. Probably could have held out for more, but I didn't want to. I wanted to sell it quickly. This is a Pure Jill top. It's a dolman, like oversized sweater, and I sold it for $16 plus shipping. J. Jill does really well in particular styles for me, so I know a lot of people don't pick it up, but I do, because I have pretty good luck with it. If it's ugly, I won't pick it up. So I guess there's just some discerning taste you have to have there. But I picked these up, Pearl Izumi cycling shorts, and I sold them for $17 plus shipping. These are J. Crew leggings, just a basic black legging, like a pont pant, P-O-N-T-E. I sold them for $10 plus shipping, which is fine for a basic J. Crew piece. This is another Chico's piece. It's Zenergy by Chico's, and this line actually does really well for me in general. So I always will pick this up. I sold it for $20 plus shipping, and it's a size 2, which is their size large. So if you're not familiar with Chico's sizing, make sure you check those size charts out so that you're familiar with how they translate, because I will put the number size, because it's vanity sizing. So I will put the number size because a lot of Chico's shoppers they know their size, so they'll look it up by that point. But I also, in this case, will go and put large also in my size, because people who are just looking for size large pieces, this will also show up in their sales or in their search rankings. So did I tell you how much I sold that for? $20 plus shipping? I think I did. Okay, I love picking up these, and again, I'm not going to show it to you. I'm not going to show it to you. I'm not going to unwrap it. But I will pick up all vintage Laura Ashley dresses. So these are called modesty dresses. They're very popular on the platform. A lot of people are looking for them. I love picking them up, and they usually sell really well for me. So this dress, it's definitely over £1. I probably paid about $2 for it. It's corduroy, and I sold it for $45 plus shipping. So somebody paid, in this case, it looks like it was an international purchase, because somebody paid $65 for this dress. So I'm not quite sure where it's shipping to yet, but those pieces usually go pretty quickly for me, and for good dollars, at least over $30, sometimes as high as $80. It just depends on the style. So don't pass on those. They're not they're not like trendy, so to speak, but there's definitely a demand for them. I love this sweater. If it was my size, I would absolutely have worn it. It is a Lucky Brand sweater. I pick up all Lucky Brand. Some of it sells for quite a bit and some of it sells for not very much, but it's always bread and butter if it's not fantastic. So I'll just show you the tag because I can. I don't wrap sweaters. I sold this for $14 plus shipping. I had it up in Poshmark and eBay for quite a while, so I was happy to go ahead and get that sold. Sold this morning. Somebody said they're using it for their Halloween costume. It's a Jimi Hendrix Experience shirt. It's a button-down floral shirt. It sold for $25 plus shipping, and he said specifically that he needed it quickly because he is buying it for his Halloween costume. So that's pretty cool. Not sure if he's dressing up as Jimi Hendrix or if it just fit the style, but I'm glad to have that sold. And then I think we're just down to my Poshmark stuff. Okay, so that's all the stuff that I sold and got paid for on eBay. So we'll move over to Poshmark. Remember with Poshmark, the buyer pays shipping on top of the prices that I'm going to share with you what I sold these things for. I love selling shoes on Poshmark because it's lower shipping costs. So you'll see that most of what I sold on Posh over the weekend was shoes, which makes me very happy. And Poshmark takes an automatic 20% off of the price of the item for fees. So just keep that into consideration as I'm sharing with you the sales price. So this is just a basic women's hoodie and it sold for $12 plus shipping. I picked these up this summer at a garage sale and they're a size 6. So they're a smaller size. I think that's why it took so long for them to sell, but they're really great condition. Fit Flops. If you find this brand Fit Flop, pick it up. It always sells really well. Obviously, it's going to sell better in the summer. But I took a $20 offer on these, or I sent out a $20 offer. I can't recall which it was. Either way, it was lower than my original listing price. I think I originally had them for $36. Picked up some UGG boots. I sold these for $30. They're Cardi boots. I sent out offers last night, and I got these accepted this morning. So happy to get those sold. I've said this before, but I do only sell UGG brand on Poshmark because eBay, for whatever reason, flags them as Vero frequently. So if you don't have proof of purchase, which is impossible when you're a reseller, it could get flagged as inauthentic by the company real quickly. So I always make sure that I'm selling authentic items. I'm never going to sell a fake item, but you don't have much recourse on the eBay platform if somebody claims your item is fake. So it's safer for me to sell them on Poshmark. Poshmark is more reasonable in that regard. So it's easier for me to sell things like UGG boots on there because I don't want to get my account flagged for anything, which has happened before with UGG. So I've had to learn my lesson in that regard. Okay. I still pick up Bear Paws. I know they're not as popular as Uggs, but these are a super cute style. I got them at the bins. They're definitely over £1. I sold them for $22 plus shipping. And that is it. That is my sales for the weekend. So I'm pretty happy with it. Again, $653.44 total. I did not list on Friday, and I did not list on Saturday. If you're following me on Instagram, you'll see that my goal was to have 40 to ship today. But you know, you can make goals on like how much do I want to ship on a Monday, but if you're not listing in the days up to that, it's kind of arbitrary because really it's super important that you stay consistent on the platform. So my sales decreased a little bit this weekend. I was out of the house all day on Friday. I did some sourcing and then I had some other connections that I needed to make personally. So I put my business on the back burner as far as listing is concerned, and then just had a family weekend and said, oh, well, I know my sales are going to drop a little bit for Monday morning, and that's okay. I did use my efforts on my business this weekend just to send out offers to likers on Poshmark and on eBay, and I do believe that that served me really well, but the majority of my sales from the weekend came from Friday and Saturday, and it's Saturday morning, and it's because I did work on Thursday. So just keep that in mind when you're running your own business. This is not, eBay especially is not a business that you can just list a bunch of items on the platform and then walk away from it and hope that everything sells. It may have used to been like that like 10 years ago, but it's not anymore. And so eBay has an algorithm that follows your activity on the platform. So it's super important if you want to have consistent sales that you are also listing consistently. I will say that I've struggled with this quite a bit. It wasn't necessarily like that when I started my business in 2012, and they've changed a lot just as far as the algorithms are concerned and what's required. They won't necessarily come out and say as much, but this has just been my experience. So I never want to feel like I'm a slave to my business. And I felt like as the algorithm started to shift over back in 2017 was when I really started noticing that I felt like, and you could easily get run away with this, is I felt like if I don't list every single day at least 40 items, my business is going to tank. And then I felt like if something, when I would go on vacation, like, I mean, it would prove itself out. This isn't just a theory, because when sellers go on vacation, the sales drop, there's things that happen, and I just don't, that's not why I'm doing this. I do this business for freedom to be with my kids, freedom to be with my husband, freedom to have weekends to myself, freedom to stay home with my kids are sick and make sure that I'm at their games. I don't do this business so that I can be a slave to it. And I got super caught up in that a couple years ago. And I'm kind of the anti-hustle voice in the community because I just feel like when we get super wrapped up in that, we kind of forget what our why is and what our purpose is. And I know my story is different than everybody else's. So but I know that everybody has priorities. Not everybody has kids at home. Not everybody has other things that they're like, whatever. We all have hobbies. We all have things that we spend our extracurricular time on. And I guess what I'm saying is don't compromise those things that make you to run this business. You can still make it work for you. It's just a matter of kind of flipping your narrative a little bit and but you got to know how to play the game and then make it work for you. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't let this business run you into the ground. You can make it work without being a slave to it. You just have to know how it works and then make it work for you. Does that make sense? All right, well, I'm going to wrap up here. If you want to follow me over on Instagram, I do share a lot about my sales through the week and kind of my process over there. You can follow me over at Thrifting for the Nest, all one word. You can find my eBay store at the Seagull Nest on eBay, and I'm on Poshmark at Seagull Nest. All pretty consistent, but if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, it's hard to find me. So those are the ways you can find me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. I love to engage with you guys in the comment section. And if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and feel free to share it as well. Spread the word. I know there's a lot of us resellers sharing about our business experiences on YouTube. So I know you have a lot you can choose from, and that can be really overwhelming. But I hope to add some value to the community with my take on business in this reselling business. So if you feel like I added value and I could help anybody else out who's looking to start eBay or is looking to build their eBay business, feel free to share my video with them as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I should have a haul video for you sometime this week. I'm going to the bins on Wednesday and Friday, but be on the lookout because I'll definitely post about it on Instagram when I do. Okay, have a great week, you guys, and we'll see you soon.